But these recommendations are based on two fundamental principles, which are basically that the U.S. must treat the U.S.-Pakistan relationship as a partnership with the Pakistani leadership and its people. It can't be something imposed.
That we need to have a partnership, not something that is imposed upon Pakistan. We have to address issues of interest to the Pakistanis. We can't have the relationship merely dictated by security concerns, intelligence concerns, and issues that are of interest to the U.S. primarily. Part of the problem in U.S. relations with Pakistan has been that it's been tactical rather than strategic, as Steve pointed out. We've got to get over this justifiable suspicion on the part of many Pakistanis that we're only tactically driven, we're only looking for a short-term fix, and as soon as we get Al-Qaeda wrapped up, then we'll leave the same way we did after the Afghan jihad. Part of the rationale for this piece of legislation was to try to lock in a long-term commitment, at least as a matter of stated U.S. policy with dollars to back it up. This money also would be a way of strengthening democracy in Pakistan without, as the report quite rightly points out, without picking and choosing, without saying we're supporting this leader, supporting the institution of democracy. As a democracy dividend, in fact, we already had part of this money already appropriated as a democracy dividend. One could look at the entire package as a continuation of that idea.
And the second is that the U.S. has limited influence in Pakistan, and it's a problem compounded by widespread anti-Americanism.
The central importance of communication by the next administration, I think it's as important for the next administration to communicate successfully to the people of Pakistan as well as to varied institutions there as it is to adjust policy. And I think in this case, communication and policy are essentially indistinguishable.
I do believe that we have to remain focused on what does the end state need to be. And in that context, we need, I believe, to have a common agenda with the Pakistani government, and very much to include the military on counterinsurgency in that area, and that there needs to be, therefore, a focus on combining military strength, military efforts with economic development and political development in those areas. To that end, I believe that, again, we need to have a common agenda, not to suggest that there will not be continued tensions and differences of opinion and perspective between ourselves and our Pakistani friends, but we need to get a whole lot closer, certainly, than we are right now in forging a common agenda with them.
Well, I know this administration is going to have an enormous draw on its capacity at home and abroad, but I do think that one challenge that this subject raises is that incremental leadership is not going to be good enough. This is a time for a transformational approach in U.S. relations with Pakistan because the crisis in Pakistan is that grave. If I wish it weren't, but I think it is. And I do think that on subjects like trade and the structure of the international engagement with Pakistan, and even on subjects like Kashmir, it is a time for big thinking because otherwise this problem may slip away from the international community.